Hey folks, Jessica here, and well, Sasuga Jessica. We're gonna roll for Constellation 6 Ayaka. The last we spoke, she was Constellation 4, and I said at the time that I would max her out, play her a bit, and if I liked her a lot, then I would go for Constellation 6. I have since then maxed her out, and well, I really like her. I'll talk more about her stats and do a showcase of her after the rolls, but just for reference, she's 90 on 90. Her talents are as high as they'll go about weekly lockout mats. I need this thing, which I believe is from the Inazuma weekly boss. I haven't actually finished the Inazuma story. I I have pretty much just rushed Ayaka, which is why she's maxed out at this point. Her artifact set is 4 out of 4 Blizzard's rare. They're all the correct stat. She is running a crit damage hat. We'll talk about the stats when I do the showcase. But yeah, she's all geared up, and her weapon is Miss Splitter Reforged. I did some research into this, and yeah, this is definitely her best in slot weapon, is 90 out of 90. It's Refinement 1. I don't know if I'll roll for more refinement on this thing yet. It's a little bit awkward, because this sword's really good, and it's actually best in slot, I think, for several characters. So if I get a second copy, I don't actually know if I would use it for refinement or if I'd use it on another character. It's kind of weird like that. It's a very good sword. But yeah, we'll get more into stats and all that stuff later. Summary is, I play her a lot. I really like how she plays. She's quite strong. I'm not going to make some bold claim like she's the best DPS in the game, because, like, honestly, I am just getting back to Genshin. I don't want to make those bold statements. There's tons of channels out there that'll give you hot takes with and without evidence all over YouTube if you want, like, a take in where she sits in the meta. I think she's considered, like, S tier on the various tier lists and whatnot. But, yeah, no, I just really like how she plays. Her aesthetic is great. I think I would confidently say she is one of the best burst DPS in the game. Like, she does an absolute boatload of burst DPS. And she also works very well with the characters I have. In particular, the team I'm running right now, which is Ayaka, Diana, Mona, and Venti. But yeah, we'll talk about more of that when we go into the actual showcase. For now, let's go for Constellation 6. So I should clarify before we get into the rolls that I am rolling for Constellation 6 on Ayaka because I really like Ayaka. That's the main reason. Like, there's not an actual huge gain from taking her to Constellation 6. The biggest gain I would say is Constellation 4, because it makes it so Kamisoto Art Tsumetsu's Frostflake Sekinoto will reduce defense by 30%, which is absolutely huge. Constellation 5, by comparison, is very low value. Blossom Cloud Iritsuki. So increases level Kamisoto Art Hyouka by 3. That's this skill. Now, that skill's very good. It applies Cryo, gives her a damage buff, and it does a decent amount of damage on its own. But increasing the level of it by 3 is not that huge, because the only part of that it's increasing is the damage of it, not the buff or the duration or anything like that. While the skill does do decent damage, it's a 10-second cooldown, so making that more powerful is not going to add that much damage overall. Now, Dance of Suigetsu, her Constellation 6, is interesting. This makes it so Kamisoto Ayaka gains Usurahi Bato every 10 seconds, increasing her charge attack damage by 298%, so nearly 300%. It will clear after 0.5 seconds when you use a charge attack, so you basically get one charge attack out of it. And then it has to cool down. So if you are playing Ayaka's main DPS and she's on the field constantly, that's not much damage added. But if you're playing a quick swap playstyle where you're like, you got Ayaka in and, like, you know, you hit him with the sword draw, the Omoe wa Shinderu, and the, you know, the teleports behind you nothing personal kid. Then you swap into Diana and, like, throw Diana stuff, and Mona, get him wet, and hit him with a Venti, and then swap back, and then sword draw him again. Then, like, you gain more. Because, like, by the time you do that cycle, it'll cool down again. So it actually is gain there. Again, it's not going to be a complete, like, earth-shattering amount of extra damage, but it does work well with that playstyle. And that tends to be how I do play her. So, yeah, Constellation 6 is going to be a gain, but I wouldn't go for it if you're not, like, really into Ayaka, because 4 is the important one. 6 is just a nice to have. But yeah, you'll see that all after we do the rolls and I showcase her. All right, all that preamble aside, let's get to rolling. So we're C4, we need 2 copies. The last 5-star we got was Ayaka, so yeah, the next one's not guaranteed, but hopefully we can hit it pretty quick. Let's see. So this is the first 10. That's nothing. Yeah, I really like Ayaka. Like, I don't know, I'm just a sucker for girls with katanas, I guess. Well, there's no I guess. I'm a sucker for girls with katanas. When Mei, Baal, Raiden Shogun, Raiden Shogun, whatever you want to call her, comes out, then I will also be rolling for her. Okay, so that's 20. Genshin's also weird in that if you certainly if you got the means to be okay with rolling for constellation, when you get to constellation 4, it's like, oh man, it's really tempting just taking the 6, right? It's hard to like just stop. Plus, I'm not exactly known for my self-restraint. So that's 30. And yeah, Ayaka's quite good as a burst DPS. Like her, like properly set up, her elemental burst just completely melts bosses. And also small groups of enemies as well, especially when teamed with Venti. That's 40. Because her elemental burst actually perfectly fills Venti's elemental burst, so you use the 2 on top of you, whatever you hit him, it's dead. So that's 40. Let's go for 50. We need them early 5 stars. I was trying to think the other day, do I still have any 4 stars that aren't C6? I don't think I actually do. Well, there's some I just straight up don't have. Like, I don't have Rosaria, because I wasn't playing at the time. There should be 60. I'm kind of surprised they still haven't added a counter. I would have expected there to be a counter to see how many rolls you've done. I mean, I guess there's some benefit in not revealing that from their end, but I don't know. Like, I think in terms of player quality, like, they should just reveal it. 70? And we're creeping up on 90. Hopefully it's an Ayaka. Is this 80? I think this is 80? I always lose crap. There we go. So hopefully it's Ayaka. Ayaka? Ayaka? The suspense. Ayaka? There we go. There's C5. So we just need one more and we're done. Nice. Very nice. Alright, one more. Another one. So there's 10. And here goes 20. Early 5-star. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Is it Ayaka? 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 It's Mona. Take it. Okay. So, you know, it's not Ayaka, but actually that works out. Here, let me just see something real quick, because I actually don't know how many constellations I have on here. Let's see Ayaka's real quick. So, Ayaka is now Constellation 5. What constellation are you, Mona? Ooh. What? Okay. So, yeah, oh, man. You're almost Constellation 6 there, Mona. So Mirror of Reflection, that's her elemental skill. So increases this thing. Um, what's her Constellation 6 purely out of curiosity? Okay, so nothing particularly important. Her Constellation 4, which I already had, increases crit rate. And that's further another reason that I would want to run a crit damage set on her, I think. We'll talk more about this when we talk in the talents. But yes, let's get back to the rolls. Alright, so starting on 10. I get another 5-star. No. So 10 in. The next one's guaranteed Ayaka. I might have to go exchange some star glitter. There's 20. Can we get another early 5-star? No. Alright, let me go get some more rolls. 1 second. Alright, change some star glitter for rolls. Let's go again. 30 in. You know, I think I figured out what annoys me about the gacha on Genshin. There's so few characters, right? That when you're rolling on these banners, there's not as much variance, right? If you're rolling in Grand Blue or whatever, like, there's hundreds of characters. So, like, you likely don't have them all. So there's a chance you might get, like, whenever you get, like, you know, a Rainbow Twist in Grand Blue's case, it might be the character you want, but it might be another character that you weren't expecting that's also pretty good. Well, this one, it's like, it's pretty much these characters. And then it's just alternating between like, it's just pretty much these characters, and maybe, like, you get, like, one of these characters if if things go wrong, maybe get one of these characters. Like, there's not as much variance. So it makes it feel very clinical and less exciting, I guess. Like, the main variance is how fast you get them. At least when you're whaling for constellations, anyway. Might not be applicable for me. This is what, 40? Okay. So we have to get some more rolls. You have to give me a second. So we're 40 in. All right. This will be 50. Someone was saying in my comments that the whole scaling chance to get a 5-star is a thing. Starting from 70 or something? I guess that might check out my experience. I don't know. It's so hard to quantify that without a huge data set, but I would take people's words for it. So this will be, I think, 60. In theory, 70 is next one. That should have a slightly higher chance of getting a 5-star. I have to go back and look at all my rolls to see if that actually... But even to get across all my rolls, I don't, like, ever in Genshin, I don't think that's a big enough sample size to really prove anything. So, what is it, 70? Furiously clicking. Okay. 80. Creeping up on it. There we go. This should be an Ayaka. This is an Ayaka. This is for sure an Ayaka. There she is. There's C6 Ayaka. I get another another 5-star maybe? Well, there's C7 Ayaka. That's awkward. I mean, I'll take it. Um, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. I mean, I will take the star glitter, I guess. That's my first C7. Well, there you go. Okay, we'll take it. It's fine. Uh, I should have been more specific. I should have been like, can we get another 5-star that's not Ayaka? I'll take it though. I mean, star glitter, whatever. There we go. C6. So let's go beat some stuff up. Let's go. I'm super curious to see how this performs. Before we get into the showcase proper, let's talk about her artifacts. I'm running 4-piece Blizzard Strayer on her, and I would say this is easily her best set. This is just a really good set in general. So the 2-piece is 15% cryo damage bonus, pretty simple. The 4-piece, when a character attacks an opponent affected by cryo, their crit rate is increased by 20%. If the opponent is frozen, the crit rate is increased by an additional 20%. So against frozen targets, that's plus 40% crit. But one more thing to look at, the party setup I'm running is Ayaka with Diona, giving me Elemental Resonance for Cryo, Shattering Ice, affected by Electro for 40% less time, okay. Increases crit rate against opponents that are frozen or affected by Cryo by 15%. So total, if you're keeping track, that is 55% extra crit against a frozen target. And then 35% if they are just afflicted by cryo. So quite a lot of extra crit. And I'm bringing that up because if you look at her stats, I've got her at 14.3% crit. You might think that's pretty low, but remember, plus 55%. So this is effectively 70% crit and then 238.2% crit damage. So you can see where that's going. I wouldn't say any of these artifacts are perfectly rolled, but they're all okay to pretty good. So here's the flower. It's crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, and attack, but it's not bad. Here's the feather. This one's actually pretty good. It's crit rate, crit damage, attack. Could use something instead of the defense, like elemental mastery or energy recharge even, but this is fine. The hourglass is okay. It's attack, so correct main stat, energy recharge, attack, but then double HP. Would love to see crit rate or crit damage, obviously, elemental mastery, etc. The thing is, I spent a tremendous amount of resin farming Blizzard Strayer for Ayaka, and I gotta say, nothing about artifact farming has gotten better, and Genshin is still a complete shit show. So yeah, this is the best we have gotten for now. I would like to replace this with something down the road that has like crit rate, crit damage as a substat, and even elemental mastery, in addition to attack and energy recharge, but this is fine for now. This goblet, on the other hand, not saying the substats are perfect, but I was starting to think that getting a goblet where the elemental damage bonus matched the set's elemental damage bonus was a complete lie. I think this might actually be the very, very first 5-star goblet I've gotten where the elemental damage bonus actually matched the set's elemental damage bonus. So, even though the substats aren't perfect, and the substats aren't bad, to be clear, even though substats aren't perfect, this thing gives me hope that goblets that don't suck actually exist. So, there you go. This one, pretty happy with this one. So, cryo damage bonus matches elemental strayer cryo damage bonus. Attack, energy recharge, crit damage, defense. This thing's nice. And then the hat, because the goblet matches elements, I can actually run whatever hat I want here, and I'm running a crit damage hat. This hat isn't perfect, but I think this might be the best crit damage hat I have. It does have 2 attacks on it, so that's nice. So that leaves me at this stat breakdown. 14.3% crit. As I was talking about earlier, that might seem low, but remember Blizzard Strayer is going to give me essentially, plus cryo resonance is going to give me essentially 70% crit here, nearly 70%, and then 238.2% crit damage. The other option is I could run something like this hat, which is crit rate. So let's just switch that over real quick. This would put me on 45.4% crit rate, which might seem more comfortable for some folks. But remember, plus 55% crit against a frozen target. So against a frozen target, I'd be sitting on 100.4% crit rate, which is a bit excessive, I would say. And then only 176% crit damage. I haven't done the math on this myself, but I talked to a bunch of my friends who are very good at this game and very much in the math side of it. And their consensus is that this setup is going to be way more damage. Like, it's around 70% crit. It's nearly 240% crit damage. This is the way they suggest to go, and I trust their math, so this is what I'm going with. You know what? I'll actually give you the real quick breakdown of all Ayaka's skills in case you haven't watched other videos, so this can be like the definitive Jessica's thoughts on Ayaka. Her normal attack string is Kamisoto Art Kabuki. It's a standard 5-hit string, though the charge attack is really cool. It's this Ajitsu sword draw, super anime. And then Sakura petals fly off of it. Her elemental skill is Kamisoto Art Hyouka. This is an AoE trio damage burst. Also gives her a buff with Amitsumi Kunitsumi Sanctification. Gives her 30% extra normal and charge attack damage for 6 seconds. So it has a 10-second cooldown. You can cut the cooldown with her C1, Snow Swept Sakura, which whenever you hit with a normal and charge attack with deals cryo damage, there's a 50% chance of it lowering the cooldown of it by of Kamisoto Art Hyouka by 0.3 seconds. If you get lucky, because remember it's 50% chance, you can cut that down pretty far and potentially get 100% uptime on her buff, but it's a little bit inconsistent. One of the really distinctive things about her is Kamisoto Art Senho. This makes it so when you dash with her, you basically, like similar to Mona, like becomes a puddle on the ground of ice instead of water, obviously. But unlike Mona, this actually does a pretty cool thing. Cool, because she's ice. In that when she comes out of it, it applies cryo to everybody nearby. So Mona's thing is mostly cosmetic. Ayaka's will actually apply cryo, so have fun, you're frozen. Also, when you come out of it, her attacks will be infused with cryo damage for 6 seconds. So it's really easy actually to have her permanently infused with cryo. And it's very easy for her to apply cryo to people as well, because she just has to dash. Like, that it's kind of like, it's not the most mind-blowing part of her kit, but it's actually quite useful in a like day-to-day practical use. Her elemental burst is Kamisoto Art Tsumetsu, which summons a giant snowstorm orb called Frostflake Sekinoto. This does tremendous damage. You'll see tons of it in the showcase, but it's a huge orb that pulses damage extremely rapidly. This is her most damaging ability by leagues, and it's so damaging that this alone, I feel pretty comfortable to say that she has some of the highest damage burst potential of any of the characters in the game right now, just because of this. Now, you can further buff it still with Blizzard Blade Sekinoto, or C2. This adds 2 smaller Frostblade Sekinoto to 2 more Snowstorm Orbs that attach to the side of that orb, and each of those do 20% of the original's damage, so if all 3 of them are sitting on a target, and the target's big enough, or if your positioning's real good, they will. That's an extra 40% damage. That's huge. And while we're talking about that, there's also Ebb and Flow. This is her C4, which makes it so Kamisoto Art Tsumetsu's Frostblade Sekinoto will decrease the defense of the enemy by 30%, which is huge. I think Klee, for comparison, on her, which is it? On her C2, only reduces it by 23%. So 30% is quite huge. And there's not a lot of characters that reduce defense. Last thing to talk about is Kanten Senmyo Blessing. This is one of her passives. It makes it so when you apply cryo with Kamisoto Art Senho, so when she dashes onto somebody, when she comes out of it and applies cryo, she'll restore 10 stamina and then get 18% cryo damage bonus. This is pretty nice because in addition to damage bonus, the 10 stamina is likely going to restore what you spent to dash on them anyway. And it sets up this nice thing where you can, like, if you can apply wet to the opponent with another character, like, say, Mona, and then switch Ayaka and dash on them, she'll apply cryo, which will freeze them, which will basically set them up for cryo resonance the crit bonus, and if you're using Blizzard Sprayer, then that crit bonus as well. And then you can just go to town on them. If you've got C6, then you can drop a huge crit charge attack on them with Dance Sugetsu and Usurai Buto. Yeah, her kit just works very well together. And if you're super fortunate and have Mist Splitter Reforged, this is her best weapon. Partly because its passive skill is crit damage, which is exactly what you want. You don't want crit rate with her. You want crit damage because she's a cryo character, so she's got plenty of crit rate already. But this thing's Mist Splitter's Edge is the skill. Gain 12% elemental damage bonus basically at all times. But beyond that, it's got this stacking buff called Mist Splitter's Emblem. It stacks to 3, and there's 3 ways to get the stacks of the buff, and you have to do all 3 in order to get the full buff. At stacks 1, 2, and 3 gives you 8, 16, and 28% extra elemental damage in addition to 12%. And the way you get stacks, you deal elemental damage from a normal attack. That stack lasts 5 seconds. You cast an elemental burst. That lasts 10 seconds. Or your energy is less than 100%. These are all super easy for Ayaka to set up. In particular, that normal attack part, applying elemental damage, that's super easy, because if she dashes, she will infuse her attacks with elemental damage. She can pretty much always do that. Hit Q to elemental burst if you got the energy, that's pretty simple. And then having less energy than 100%, again, that's not that hard to set up, because you likely have... If you use your elemental burst, you're going to have less than 100% energy. So you can see how her kit works very, very well with this sword. Not exactly a hard fight these days, but Storm Terror might give you an idea of how Ayaka performs against a large target. Here, I'm not even gonna use any other characters to set this up. This is just her damage. That's without any reactions. That's just her elemental burst against a big target. Sorry, Storm Terror. Okay, it's obligatory at this point. Let's go beat up one of these flowers. Break it Ramona real fast. I think this is still the fastest way. And there you go. A little bit more of a long form fight. Let's do a domain, since I think we need the Severed Fate set for Mona. We'll do this one. I believe this one, if you stand on blue, you have cryo bonus, so we'll try to stand on blue. Come on, get over here. Alright, well, everything's on the field now, so then healed up. Drop Ayaka's into it. And there's no main clear. Let's see what we got. I believe this is the best in slot set for Mona. Oh, I should talk about what the rest of my team's wearing. That's the set. No, that's the other set. Okay. No, I don't want to continue to leave. Alright, someone's going to ask, so let's just quickly talk about what the rest of the team's wearing. Diona is wearing 4-piece Main Beloved. I want to switch this to Noblesse Oblige, but I'm running a primary as a healer, and this is what I had on hand at the moment, so Main Beloved. Mona's running 4-piece Heart of Depth, which is the Hydro damage set. I want to switch this out for Severed Fate, as I just said, but still gotta farm it. And then Venti is, of course, running 4-piece Viridescent Venerer. Let's do some Spiral Abyss. So this is floor 12. I'll show the Ayaka portions, I guess. So, it should be fairly simple. Gotta remember to freeze people. Very important with this team. Oh, there's that chamber done. Alright, chamber 2. That card. We ended the other floor so fast that I didn't get a chance to build Elemental Burst on everybody, so yeah, Elemental Charge makes sense. Oh, if you're wondering, that's what her charge attack's like with C6. There's actually a visual indicator on her hand. Her hand glows when she's ready. Welcome to that. When she hits the charge attack buff. Granted, it's not exactly easy to see in the middle of combat, so I don't actually know how helpful that is to anybody. But it exists. And apparently, her actual charge attack will target airborne enemies as well, so, you know, that's nice. Okay, goodbye. I got a... What? What is that achievement? There we go. So, this floor is not going to be anywhere near as clean because there's an Abyss Herald here, and if you fought them, you know they are incredibly obnoxious. As far as I can tell, there's no way to actually skip their shield phase. If there is, let me know, because, like, I'm super interested if there is, but I think we're just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and actually properly react down their shields. Which makes me sound very laborious because, well, it is. Nope, not day. You don't get the shield back up. Neither do you. Here. Have vent heal. One of those. And then we'll get ready for shield phase on you. Yeah, at least we can freeze them. Which will make this part a little bit cleaner. This might actually be a good showcase of Ayaka, because she's quite good at reacting to shield down. It's just, even being good at it still doesn't mean it's gonna be fast. I'm gonna drop her ult on him. That takes a whole bunch of times, and that will at least make this a little bit faster. But yeah, at this point it's just about reactions, not damage. But fortunately, we can infuse her basic attacks with Priya, so reaction's not actually very difficult for us to do with her. And we'll just chip away at that shield. Like, it's not hard, it's just fucking slow. We don't have to actually kill him, we just have to break the shield and he's done. But there you go, that's the Herald. Let's talk about C6 in more detail, because it's probably pretty hard to see it in the middle of a big fight. So C6 for Ayaka is Dance of Suigetsu. It gets her the buff Usurahi Buto. You can tell she's got it because her hand glows and sakura petals fall off her hand. I love her aesthetic. So while she's got the buff, the next charge attack will deal 298% extra damage. A thing to note, if you charge attack and miss, it won't actually consume the buff. She's still got it. So that's a very nice quality of life thing, because if she didn't have that, frankly, pretty obnoxious to miss. So, let's just beat this guy up real fast so you can see. So, freeze him. That's the damage it does. And then for reference, if she doesn't have the buff, it'll be quick. If she doesn't have the buff, that's how much damage it does. So, yeah, there's your point of reference. So yeah, conclusions. I do not regret C6ing Ayaka, though that's purely because I really like her. If you are interested in just, like, what is the maximum, like, actual damage gain, I think you can stop at C4. I think C4 helps a lot, but C6 is mostly a thing to do if you really like the character, because honestly, yes, it does make her sword draw hit a lot harder, but it's honestly not that big a deal, and then C5's just not really worth talking about at all. To be honest, though, I mean, if you just have C0 Ayaka, which I imagine most people that have her probably do, then don't worry about it. Like, she's not heavily reliant on constellations. There are some characters, and I'm not going to get into it right now, that are very heavily reliant on constellations. She's not one of them. She's totally fine at C0. But yeah, no regrets C6 here, because I really like her. Just her aesthetic is so awesome. Beyond Ayaka, I don't know anything about the next character coming up. I think she's a fire archer. Is she a fire archer? She's on the artwork. I haven't met her in game yet, so I don't actually know what she does. Don't know anything about her. I'll probably roll for one copy and then see what her constellations are actually like. Kind of don't want to go too heavy on C6 in characters because Ball is coming at some point. May, the Raiden Shogun, whatever you want to call her, and she's the reason I came back to Genshin. Like I'm super super hype about her. So yeah, almost sure unless she's one of the Archons, right? And the Archons are Venti, uh, Zhongli, and Ball at this point. And Venti and Zhongli are two of the best characters in the game. So I would be shocked if Ball were bad, which probably means I will see her. We'll see what our constellations are like. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when it comes because she's not even been announced yet, so it might be a couple months before she actually comes out. Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!